How's everybody doing today? Did everybody get one of these?
Good idea.
So today, Kathleen's going to talk a little bit about the preliminary title report, which I don't think enough people really know, or, my words, maybe necessarily care about it. But I think it's one of those important documents that we should care about, because there's information on it that if you don't find out until the very end, and I think the title companies, there are title companies that don't catch stuff as well. So I think it's your responsibility to at least review it, but more importantly, it's more important for your client to review it. I think that what we should be doing is not only when we send them, when the title sends them the preliminary title report, I think they should also sign and date it, so they can't come back to you and say, well, I never seen that, because I've seen and heard that as well. So I think it's something that we definitely should be talking a little bit more about. I turned all the lights on. It's kind of weird the way these lights work. So it was funny today, and I'm not going to pull up the debt clock because whatever. But I was listening to Stuart Varney, and Congress is going to have a big farm up there, and they're going to be grilling them about the price of the bills and stuff. And I get it. I think they're expensive. I think we pay more in America than most other countries. I get it. But I think to myself, these people who do zero right, who've got us in $35 trillion worth of debt, have the audacity to grill somebody else about their business? We should be grilling them. I guarantee you, if I was a CEO up there, I'd be going, how dare you, jackasses, lecture us about making money and being profitable when you can't do shit right. That's my little thing for the day. Sorry about that.
Amen.
But it's just like I'm thinking to myself, how dare you guys? You got the nerve. So housing, thank you, Clay. Clay's here with us finally. He's been off today, so good, congratulations. Numbers are climbing up 1.8. Solds are sticking right about the same. We've been about 450, 480, 500, 520, somewhere right there. Numbers are still good. Homes, 100,000, 400,000, or 2,400. I think that's about 100 homes. Nothing too crazy. Distressed property was 87, I think it was 89 last week. So the numbers are still bearing out pretty good. The interest rates came down 0.5 point, right? Has anybody heard anything magical? Is anybody coming out of the woodwork? Is anybody doing anything that you heard buyers? I mean, I wouldn't. Honestly, I don't think myself personally, there'd be a whole lot of people getting out super excited about that. But it's something, it's a start, I guess. But they didn't want to do too much, I guess, right away. So, of course, these are just, look at the median home price. I believe that was 36 last week. So we're at 40 right now, so inventory's sitting on the market a little bit longer. Price is correct. So, and if you do this, God love you to do whatever you're going to do. It doesn't bother me. But I think it's, how do I want to say this? I think it's kind of crazy that we have a home on the market for 150 days, and the best thing that they come up with is, let's remove the listing and put it back on tomorrow with new numbers. Why don't we just reduce the price right now and quit screwing around with it? And then if anybody, now I guess one good reason why most people don't is because most agents, when they look up, don't go to history and see where the home was at on the market. So I think that might be a reason why a lot of people are doing it. But it seems silly to me that we take it off. And I had one just the other day. It was on the market for 32 days. And they want to take it off the market and put it back on in 2 hours with a new number and lower. Are you going to reduce the price? Well, yeah, what we're going to do is reduce the price by $15. Whoa, nice. What sells homes?
Price.
Price and condition.
Every time. Price, kitchens, bathrooms, in that order is what sells homes. Period. A mermaid swimming in the pool, a taco truck out front, sitting in a bar negotiating over cocktails, that doesn't sell homes. Price, master or kitchens and bedrooms. Can't say master anymore. Primary. So I get it, and I'm seeing it more and more. Well, we're going to drop our dress. And you realize, and I've said this to a couple agents, you realize when you take it, withdraw it unconditional off the market, because that's the only way you can relist it, all of the paperwork has to be redone. Not some of it, all of it. Because that deal is gone now. So just make sure everybody understands that part. And I would get the documents signed, the new listing, before you withdrew it. Because you know, we all know this, and if you don't know this, as soon as you withdraw a home off the market, your client is going to get 1,500 calls. Did you know your home came off the market? Did you know your home came off the market? Another thing I'm seeing as well, WCs, when you put a withdrawn conditional, I have heard and seen it actually happen to me. Agents are calling your client and saying, hey, I seen your home's a WC, which is illegal. You're not supposed to be doing that. It's unethical, I should say. Maybe not so much illegal. Do that. So the Rev Up classes, tomorrow's class right here is working with buyers to get your offer accepted. That they're all on Zoom. There's the passcode and the link and everything's right there. I will not be teaching that class tomorrow. Jim from Green Valley is going to be teaching it. But these are some great classes, especially to get back to the basics. I think a lot of times we need to get back to the basics of real estate. I think we're getting too far ahead with all these other different things that we're not. I shouldn't say that I don't think they're important, I think they are, but I think this is still a belly-to-belly business, talking to people on the phone, engaging with them, not so much texting and all that stuff, which I think texting is a great tool, but I think at some point we have to get on the phone. So let's bring up Heather. Come on up, Heather. Give her a big hand, everybody.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I don't have a lot to talk about today, but we have Kathleen LaMarche, our escrow officer, here with us today. She's going to talk about the prelim, as Jeff mentioned. Tim Sams has a great class directly after the meeting. You guys have all heard us talk about ROC agent, farm agent. So he's going to do a class on that. We also have another one on Zoom tomorrow at 10:30 that you can register for. If you guys want to drive to Summerlin, tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I have a class on, it's listening to the book, Who Moved My Cheese. So everyone's going to bring cheese and little crackers, and we're just going to turn off the lights and listen to that book. And it's about change in the market and how you can change your mindset. So I'd love to have you guys there. And that's all I have to say.
Are you going to read the book, or is it?
It's an audible, so I'm just going to press the button, and we're going to get a.
It would be better if you read it the whole thing.
Somebody else, a professional, is paid to read it on Audible. I don't know who it is. But it's
Earl Jones or somebody.
Yeah, somebody cool like that.
You can get like those, everybody sit on the floor, like,
it'll be like
during
kindergarten.
school. Yes.
Yeah, we can sit on the floor with crisscross out.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can't do that.
No, I say, like Chris Ross, you can't give me a living out of it. I couldn't get my
Yeah,
legs straight.
that's tomorrow at 11.
Okay.
And that's all I have to say.
All right, perfect, thank you. Give her a big hand, everybody. Mrs. Waldeck, come on up, say hi to everybody. I was just talking to her on the way up too about the home warranty and how the business is going and all that, so please.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Lisa Waldick with Achosa Home Warranty. I was looking at the stats, and we know that listings are staying on the market a little bit longer, 30, 45 days, sometimes a little bit longer depending on the price point. I remind you of that because of the importance of listing coverage. When you're taking listings, it's really important to have that listing coverage on your properties. Sellers are going to start turning on their furnaces pretty soon, and if they haven't run it, there's going to be times when something's just not working right with it. We know no seller wants to put any money into a house that they have for sale on the market. We know that they want to keep costs low. They want to try to get as much money as they possibly can. If you're not used to presenting seller coverage and free listing coverage during your listing presentation, I think it's really important to set yourself apart. Sellers are looking for your value proposition. They want to see what's setting you apart from the competition. If you're interviewing 1, 2, 3 agents, and what's going to make you stand out. So when you're preparing that net sheet, when you're going on that listing appointment, you're already putting a line item in there for HOA demand, HOA resale package, closing costs, potential repairs. Stick a line item on there for home warranty and let the seller know that more than likely they're going to receive an offer from a buyer asking for them to pay for a 1-year home warranty at the close of escrow. And by the way, by listing with me, I'm going to include a warranty on your property during the listing and escrow period, so if something should fail, we've got you protected with the home warranty coverage. It's really important right now, guys. Again, homes are sitting on the market 30, 45 days. let's say you're on the market for 30, 45 days, you get it under contract, the buyer does the home inspection, you get that request for repairs, and there's something that just looks like, wow, that could be a big ticket item, whether it's AC, whether it's heat, whether it's electrical, plumbing, something like that. Shoot me a copy of that request for repairs over. I'll look at it and tell you if any of those items would have potential coverage. It kind of softens the blow a little bit before you go back to the seller with a laundry list of requests for repairs, when you can go back and have some of that stuff highlighted going, this item right here might be covered under the home warranty that I've provided you on that listing coverage. So it's just, again, extra value add. If you can save your clients money, you're gonna look like the hero. And if you don't think they're gonna tell somebody that you saved them $500, $600, $700, $800 on a request for repairs, I think that's pretty golden. So if there's anything I can do for you guys, let me know. Again, I can get those things enrolled for you. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text, say, hey, I just took a new listing, or I'm taking a listing tomorrow. I can send you the flyer for the listing coverage that you can include into your listing presentation. But again, I think it's just really important right now. Again, we're kind of in that in-between stage. It's, 100 degrees today. It's gonna be, 80, it's not gonna be much longer before furnaces are coming on. So I'll be here all day.
One real quick question, Lisa.
Yes.
When somebody orders a home warranty, like, hey, I could include it, how does the billing work on it? Is that something that the escrow pays you out of escrow? Do you send them a receipt? Does the agent send? You send the agent the information, they send it to title? How does that normally work?
So yeah, so when you guys are ordering a warranty and you guys send me the information, I'm always going to ask for the buyer's name, email, and phone number, and who escrow is with. So that way I can send a copy to you, I can send a copy automatically goes to the buyer so they know that they've got a policy in place, and a copy goes to escrow. So everybody gets a copy of that policy and all CC'd on that same email. The other nice thing about it too is, like, for your buyer clients, if they have any questions, my contact information is on that email. So I have clients call me, I'm like, oh, I need to file a claim, I don't know how to do it. Or do you have a list of contractors? I send them all of that information so they've got everything. It works out really well for that. The other thing that I like to do, and this is just something that I like to do for you guys, if you are representing the buyer, and as soon as you go into escrow, I know it's really easy to wait and order that warranty the day before closing when everybody's screaming for everything. I mean, you guys know how it is. It's the day before, it's the day of signing, and you still don't have that warranty invoice, and you're like, where's that warranty invoice? I need it now. I mean, it happens.
You just did one for me this month,
See?
actually, real quick.
Yeah, and so, and as much as I don't mind doing that, what I want to do for your buyer clients is, as soon as you go into escrow, get an accepted purchase agreement, send me that warranty order. I will put on that free listing coverage for your buyers, so that house is actually protected during that escrow period. If it's a 30-day escrow, if it's a 40-day escrow, I send a copy to you, to title, and I also send it to the listing agent, so the listing agent knows that that house is being covered by that warranty that you put on for your buyers. So that's just an extra service I do for you guys, and again, it kind of gives your buyers peace of mind. They don't know what they're going into. Again, if that something happens during that home inspection, or something happens during the walkthrough, the garbage disposal is seized up, the garage door opener won't work because the seller moved out and something got, messed up or something like that. So we can use that warranty to, hopefully not delay escrow, not have to hold money back into escrow for, to get those repairs made after the fact, but they can use it to get those repairs made.
How to cost-wise? Is it cost up front? Is it cost at the end? How does that?
There is no cost for the seller policy. Everything gets paid through the close of escrow. So everything gets paid at closing.
And so if the buyer, the new buyer, you got a listing, the new buyer doesn't want the home warranty, what happens then?
We cancel it. It goes away. So you just tell me, hey, listen, the buyer doesn't want it, or it just goes away. Nobody pays for anything, even if the seller's used it. So that's where we're hoping the buyers see the value in it. We take all the risk. There's no doubt about it. We're hoping that the buyers see the value in the fact that we've had the home protected, that it's going to eliminate a lot of pre-existing conditions. We all know stuff happens when a buyer moves in. The seller might be one person living there. You might have a family of 5 moving in. They're running that showers, the hot water is running a lot more, the dishwasher is running more, the oven, they're opening and closing that refrigerator door a lot more than what one person was doing. And you just don't know, what's there. So it's just trying to give the buyers that extra peace of mind once they move in that they're covered.
Perfect. Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So guys, in the back of your package, I just put this in there. I've actually found this the other day, and it's 30 ways to lose your license. And I was just kind of going through that the other day, actually, I seen it, I was like, I'll just put it in there for fun, just everybody to see it. I think some of them might be a little much about losing your license, but I think there are definitely things in here that can certainly get you into mischief. So I just thought it would be fun to put in there, offering opinions outside the scope of your expertise. Why, at least we hear this, don't worry about that, home warranty will cover it.
Right.
I love the idea of sending you the inspection. I think that's a great tool. Let's see, fair to advise a client that disclosures of defects must be made and are proceeding with representation despite known concealment. Don't conceal anything, please. We had a huge lawsuit over that several years ago about that. Failure to detect obvious signs of mold, contamination, and other defects. And that's it, it's failure to detect, right? It's not what you know, it's what you should have known. When I walked in and seen the stain on the ceiling, I should say, hey, why the paint? There's a stain on the ceiling, I need you to paint that so nobody knows. No, okay, I was making sure. Everybody, no. Right, hey, what's going on there? Oh, we had a leak on the roof 5 years ago. Okay, make sure you put that on the SRPD. Right, that's the stuff. So anyway, I just thought it'd be neat to put it in there, guys. I think I said, I don't think you can lose your license, but you can certainly get into trouble. So let's jump on this. I already, wrong way, my bad. There you see, come on. So, all right, Kathleen, come on up, give her a big hand, everybody. Everybody has a copy of the prelim. And again, you guys, I really think that honestly, I know there's a few agents that have their buyers and sellers sign that prelim as well. So they can't come back, because I've had it happen. Well, I never knew there was a IRS lien on the property. Well, we gave you the prelim. Well, I never read that kind of stuff. I mean, you guys, you would be amazed at how many people I've had, and I've had not only buyers and sellers, but real estate agents. I didn't read the contract. How do I know what's going on? Well, you signed it. That's implied that you read it. So listen, I think it's one of the important documents that we don't review enough and make sure that our clients review it. All right, Kathleen, it's all yours.
All right, thank you. So when you open escrow, we start our title search, which usually takes 2 to 3 days. If there's a lot going on, it might take a little bit longer. This title commitment is like from 2018, so it's a little, but it's got a lot of bad stuff on it that a seller would be concerned about. The first 2 pages are just saying we're gonna issue title insurance, providing, we get everything cleared off the prelim so we can issue free and clear title to the buyer and the buyer's lender. I'm just gonna kind of breeze through the first part. And then the 3rd page is just basically your definitions and explanations of rights. That would be 3 and 4. And then on the Schedule A, this just states what kind of policies we're giving out. Buyers, sellers, this stuff will change as loan amounts change or sales prices. If you're adding, subtracting a buyer, or we're gonna pull both sellers. If one passed away, both sellers are still gonna show. So that's basically what Schedule A is, and then also.
Okay, Kathleen, on Schedule A, number B, and it says Alta loan policy, title insurance, and the next one it says expanded coverage. I know that we always start with expanded coverage, is that correct? And then can somebody come down off of that if they wanted to, is that it, or
It's
no?
the lender it's all up to the lender. If
Okay.
they want a standard, the standard does not give as much coverage. An extended, we call them expanded or extended, that covers more, and there's a list that I don't have, but it covers more on the title insurance. It's kind of like on your home insurance, if you get endorsements and things for your jewelry, your artwork, your certain things. So it just has a bigger list, which we could probably get from
I
title.
have that list if you guys want.
Do you,
I do.
marketing has it?
We'll have you something good too.
Extended or
We'll
not.
put it on our Facebook or something as well.
Yeah, so, and that goes, with an owner's policy as well.
Is it generally a lot more expensive? Is it a little bit more expensive? I mean, is there
It's
a,
about 10% of the owner's policy more.
okay,
We pretty much automatically, for every lender, and buyers that are, purchasing their home as a primary, they get the extended warranty. That's what we're quoting from the beginning.
And the seller's paying that.
The seller pays
Seller's
the owner, the buyer pays for the lender's policy. If it's an investor who rents, flips, they generally will only get a standard.
Is that because that's what they want, or is that because that's kind of what you guys?
Because we're not, it's just kind of a standard thing unless they request an extended.
Okay.
And that comes from the seller because most investors don't have loans.
Okay.
And most private, if they do, they're usually a hard money loan, and the hard money lenders don't care. So they usually, and it's less cost to the clients
Okay.
for the standard. So that's what those two are, and those are subject to change depending on what the lender or a buyer may require. And then the next page is just a legal description of the property. So here's where we get into escrow once title does the search, is Schedule B, Part 1, and then there's a Schedule B, Part 2. Part 1, this basically is telling us from title what we need to clear off this prelim before they will issue any title insurance. So the top 4 are gonna be standard on all of them, on ours anyway. I can't speak for other title companies. But when you get into 5, we're seeing that this property was put into a family trust. So title's gonna want a copy of the full trust agreement. Now, sometimes they'll get away with the trust certification, which most sellers try to just send that in. And if all the trustees are signing, our title department, a lot of times, as long as it states who the trustees are, and the trustees are alive and signing all of them, a lot of times we can clear it with that. But if you have one of the trustees that pass, definitely need a full trust agreement. Because now we gotta see, title wants to see where it goes.
So you can't use a trust cert?
They'll ask for a full trust agreement, but if you have a trust cert, and I always check your contract to see, well, did both trustees sign, or,
Right.
well, how come only Dave did, but Sally didn't sign? Then I'll start questioning.
It's a good idea, guys, to always ask for the paperwork anyways, and upload it into SkySlope. Now you got it in the
You
file
guys need it
forever.
as well,
If
right?
something ever comes down the pipe, we'll know what's going on.
You guys need to know trust LLCs.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, if title agrees, we generally don't, we require it for ours, but if title agrees with it, we're pretty much on board with it as well. Because you guys are the one offering the,
I just know, because
Yeah.
sometimes I have your agents asking me to send copies
right.
to them, so I was just curious. There's the inspection. This is where the inspection comes in, is where we're talking about what type of title policy. If it's an investor with a standard, we won't do an inspection. And if it's a primary and for the lender, we will do an inspection, charge the $100 that you'll see on our net sheets. This is looking for mechanics liens, which is covered under the extended policy.
So it's not a physical inspection, it's
No,
inspection
yeah,
of
we actually
documentation.
have a person that drives by the home to make sure they're not doing construction.
Oh,
Broken
okay.
priority.
Okay.
And they look for other things, make sure, it's not burnt to the ground or something.
Yeah,
That's happened in the
it
past.
happens, absolutely.
Mhm. So that's what that will be showing on all of them. The next one on 7, that's just stating there's a deed of trust recorded on the property, so we know we're gonna look into that. Number 8, satisfaction UCC financing. That is telling us there's either a solar on the property, air conditioning, water system, so we're gonna have to address that as well. We're gonna need a payoff, transfer, release it, so the lender could be in first position when we close for the new owner. The number 9 is just stating single family. 10, most lenders want a 24-month chain of title, so we go back at least 24 months and state it on here for lenders so they know. Then, what do we got? Oh, statement. Okay, so somewhere in our trust we have Jimmy John. Very popular name. So we're gonna ask for a statement of information that includes like their social security, date of birth, where they've lived for the last 10 years, where they've worked. So we need to clear their names, and we do search buyers' names as well. Not on the recorded end, but for basically government liens like IRS, child support. If their names come up, we need to clear their names for child support and things like that. Lenders do the rest as far as, but that's mostly what we're concerned about for buyers. So we need to clear Jimmy John's name, because there's probably a bazillion liens against that name, or a J Johnson, or anything, James, Jimmy.
So you issue to the
We
agent
will
a statement of information and they fill it out, or
We
whoever.
will have
needs
the
to fill it.
buyer or seller, whoever it's,
Right.
we're needing it on, but we will let you agent know, and depending on, some agents like to pass along to their sellers, some agents prefer we contact them directly, cause they don't want that information, which is probably the safest bet for agents, is not to have their personal information. So then we'll get that cleared, but then as we're moving along here, there's an estate of Jimmy Johnson, so now he's passed away. And this was actually a true freaking. So, now we're needing a probate. Because now he's passed and maybe the trustees, but this is what title is asking for the administrator, which they have access to some of the documents, but we will require all the court documents to see who's determined to be able to sign on behalf of the house, to sell it.
How long will that take if it's, you suddenly find out it has to go through probate?
Sometimes, well, here's an instance which I was gonna talk about is vesting, that's why I kind of put this vesting form on for you. I've been across this through my career a time or two. Somebody's deed was recorded as, husband and wife, that was it. Husband passed, wife wants to sell. Unbeknownst to her, nobody put a vesting on it, joint tenants. So now she has to go to probate.
Right.
For her husband's side, which is horrible, and it was all because of a few simple words that you don't expect probate. Like on this particular one, title was able to pull from their search, cause they go into, like the courts and things like that and do name searches there. That's where we get our statements of information, or if we need probate, or divorce decrees, or whatever they're needing that way. So there's a lot of things that can, what is another example, probate. Or if you're just on as a single woman, single man, and there's there's probate. So there's many reasons to go into probate.
I mean, when you see this kind of stuff, it's important for you and your spouse or whatever, significant other, to have yours done the right way. So if something's happened to you or them, you don't go through the same nonsense.
Yeah, now, some of them were lucky, like the husband and wife thing, if it doesn't say joint tenants right of survivorship. If you could go back to that title company and pull, or you have your documents that you signed or your client does, that shows, cause we should all be having them do a vesting instruction with their escrow documents. And they pick how they want their vesting. Clark County will allow the deed to be re-recorded and corrected, providing you have that form completed and signed by both parties prior to the death. So we've been able to fix them that way. And they've had to go back to their old title companies, maybe whatever, 10 years later. Luckily, everything's electronic now. Before, after 7 years, everything got destroyed, but.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Kathy. Okay, so I've seen people have trusts and their home is in the trust, or it's listed in the trust, but it's not recorded. What happens in that scenario?
What
Just
do you
need
mean it's not recorded?
Well, I've had, for instance, I think my in-laws have a trust and their house is in the trust, but their attorney, this is at a different state, told them not to actually record it unless they die, then,
Here,
I don't know.
How do you
so-
record once you're past, you can't, nothing's valid that way. So I mean, here in Nevada, in order to have your home in your trust, you have to record a deed, transferring from you as an individual to your trust.
To the trust, right?
So I don't know, attorney states are maybe different, but I don't see how it's valid to record anything once you're passed. Because
Yeah.
maybe that's not your intent at that time and you're not here to say so.
Okay. So most of the time you're gonna see if there is a trust, it is actually recorded.
It will be.
Okay.
And it will actually show on the tax statements
Yeah.
as long as Clark County passed it. So, we'll know, yeah, at that point. Where were we? Oh, and at some point Jimmy John was married, so once again, title pulled that from the court's website. So we're gonna want a copy of the divorce decree because they're gonna wanna determine if his wife was due any money from the sale of the home. And then we'll have to follow that court order as well.
So who gets the divorce decree? Would the client have to provide that to title or to?
The seller
escrow?
side, and
Either way.
if Jimmy Jones passed away and now you have his daughter as the trustee or son, they're gonna have to go through all this paperwork, it still has to be provided.
Okay,
even
if
if a
they
person-
can't find it,
They need to go to the courts and get one, or an
Okay.
attorney, or they
Okay.
need to get one.
Okay.
We will try to work around it if possible, it depends on how long it's been divorced, you know, the divorce is. There's situations that we can try to search and work around. Even like if a person's passed away, we still need a statement of information on them, because we still have to clear their name and make sure it's not them, and if it is them, we have to pay it through
how about
escrow.
an affidavit of death? Do you do those? For the deceased person?
If you
By-
have like
they're
a
on
husband
title.
and wife, we do affidavit terminating joint tenancy, basically
Right.
removing so the one person has the rights to sell and sign.
And you guys, they also provided over here, that on the table, and you probably all got this, this is something you should be giving to your clients, as well as all of us should be making sure we're paying attention to it, how to take title,
Yeah.
right? Let's don't be the expert for them, say, listen, here's some ways to take title, talk to your attorney, or whoever, talk to
You're
title,
right, 'cause
and ask them, you know, hey,
legally,
what's the
we-
best way to take title?
Legally, we're not supposed to. We default to the husband and wife as joint tenants, or an unmarried woman, unmarried man as joint tenants. Just to put something in there, but we also work with the lenders that ask us how they want title. Technically, those buyers are the ones that need to make that decision, because we're not attorneys, neither are you, so we can't advise. And some of that, like with the right of survivorship, but some of it has to do, or community property, with maybe the price of the home, your tax bracket, how you wanna take that. Joint tenants is just basic, you don't go to probate, it gets transferred over to the surviving tenant.
One spouse dies and automatically goes to the other.
Yeah, yeah. so
Quick
that
question, Kathleen. So as a real estate agent, obviously, there are different prelims. Some are cleaner than others. This is obviously training purpose. This is a hot mess, right?
It is, yeah.
I'm very busy, so I don't look at my inbox. How would I know that there's a lot of issues on this one as opposed to maybe my other client? Different deal. Do you send them over differently?
Nope, they pretty much come the same, but as soon as we get these, we're gonna start working on you listing agent,
Okay.
telling you we need this from your seller, and you're gonna say, okay, I'll get it, or go ahead and contact them
Do
directly.
like a red alert?
We do have the red alert, yes, I don't like seeing those, sorry, I forgot about them, see, I blocked that.
It's okay. And that comes across with a bunch of
On
highlighted
the
red?
top, yeah, on our
Okay.
prelims, title will put a red alert, and then have a checkbox, need trust, need divorce
Oh.
decree. And if those are simple, but some of them I don't. But, so you will see those when we send out our opening packages to you.
And you guys, these are great questions to ask when you're taking a listing or working with somebody about that. How are you gonna take title? Here's a great way, go here, is it in a trust? Has somebody died? You know, that kind of stuff. You need to make sure you're asking these questions and get all that information up front, so you're not waiting till the last minute to get it.
And know your buyers, if they wanna go in a trust and they're getting a loan, it needs to be approved through that lender. We don't care, but that lender has to approve the trust. And we'll still want a copy of the trust, even though that's the buyer. But you need to get that approved, the buyer will need to prove it through, their lender. Now we go into Schedule B2. These are what's showing on of record right now from the owner. So we are going to go through these, like 1 and 2, taxes will always be there, we're telling you they're there. They're number 1, property taxes are always number 1 in lien position. This one has a special improvement, SID, LID on it, so those are normally second lien position. So the buyer either needs to assume it, or the seller will have to pay it off, so that they need to agree, buyer, seller on that. We'll order, demand, and do prorations accordingly like we do everything else.
That's a negotiable item as well, you guys, when you're bringing an offer to a buyer, that's a negotiable, so you can negotiate.
I don't know if the new homes are they putting them, the charge into the sales price now, because we don't.
No, I don't think they generally are. I don't know, it's a great question, I don't think so.
We don't see so many
Wow,
close
interesting.
now. I mean, they're still there, but we don't see them like we
Wow,
used to all the time.
Huh.
So I'm curious. I have to look at my son's house that he got. Let's see. 4, 5, and 6, these boundaries, things, anything patents with the United States, they're all gonna stay. There's no way of getting rid of them. They're always gonna be on every final policy. They've been there for years. We need the United States to remove it. So those are normal. On the next page, number 7, when you see the CC&Rs and it says liens and charges, upkeep, maintenance, that's telling you pretty much there's an active HOA out there. Some properties have HOAs out there, but they're not active. But their CC&Rs have an HOA name, but they're not active. And usually the listing agent, the seller goes, there is no HOA. And then at that point, we're having buyer-seller stating that they're aware there is an HOA. It's not active, but it could in the future. Then here we got easements. Always be aware of easements, especially if you have a buyer that maybe wants to put a pool in the backyard. This has been a big issue before, where there's Nevada Power, Cox Cable, water line, gas line, and they're unaware of this easement, and now they bought the home and they can't put the pool in the backyard. So if you're aware that your buyer wants to do anything like that, you can always ask for copies of these easements and see where they're located and share it with your buyer. The other easement is the conservation easement with the water district. That's a big thing we've had problems with, is the seller is taking out from the water district where you get X amount of dollars per foot to go desertscape. They take the money, they let everything die, and they don't replace it. And then all of a sudden we're closing and the buyer says, well, the water said we couldn't do it because the seller already did it. Well, they did. So you always be on the lookout for that for your buyers, especially.
They don't check that, the water authority doesn't check that before they give away.
Some do, yeah,
They haven't though.
Oh,
They
wow.
did the front and back and just recently, like this summer, the seller took the money for the front and back and did nothing. So actually, the buyer side caught it.
Inspected.
Right, that's what I would think before they start getting money.
The buyer side caught it, and the seller had to pay back the water district for both of them in order for the buyer to agree to close. So it
That's
reversed it,
Yeah.
and we paid it through escrow, and then the buyer got it to do what they wanted.
That's why it's
so that
important to
does
read
not-
these things.
Yeah, it's just these little small things, but it comes and bites you after close when your buyer goes to do something and they didn't know, you know.
Who do they blame when that happens? Real estate agents.
You guys for sure.
Yep,
And then you guys, why didn't we know?
right,
I didn't know your buyer wanted to put a pool in the backyard.
right.
So how I wouldn't know to tell you to look at easements, you know? Kind of it happens, sorry. We just sometimes can't fix them though. Okay, number 10 is the deed of trust, so we know we're gonna order a mortgage, so we need, a lot of times, most of the time escrow needs the seller's, sign wet signature authorization to order payoffs. And other, things like, some solars, some water, systems or air conditioning. So we'll be sending that out. Once again, you can tell us to contact your seller directly, so you're not having all that information. And then 11 is the sunrun, which we know is a solar system that needs to be addressed, and we do need a release to get rid of that, because we need to put the buyer's lender in first position. And then they will record another UCC filing against the property. Another thing that's not on here, I wanted to say, deed upon death, A lot of people file those thinking we're gonna avoid probate. Be aware there could be a 90-day wait period on that, because when the person dies and they left it to their son, to transfer to their son, that their son needs to file a notice of, publication. And it needs to be filed 3 weeks in a row, like with Nevada Legal News or the Review Journal, and it needs to be documented, and then you have 90 days from the first filing that you have to wait for all creditors to be able to say they're due money. And then escrow has to contact the, Department of Medicaid to make sure there's, if you're elderly especially, if the deceased is, to make sure there's no funds due to the Medicaid department. We did the vesting on the deed, uninsured deeds. Somebody does a deed to another person, deeds the home to another person without title insurance, we're gonna need an uninsured deed affidavit from that person signing that deed, signed with a notary stating, yes, they signed it, no money's due them, so sometimes that becomes a hiccup in the transaction as well.
Interesting.
Kind of what I got, there's always plenty more.
Oh, yeah.
Every property has its own story.
The most important thing is really just to make sure you put your eyes on it, because you see this kind of stuff. And I know we all get them, we just throw them real quick, or we even look at them. But I think, like I said, honestly, I think you should be having, they definitely send it to their buyer and seller anyways, but I think you should be, I would be getting them signed by my
And
buyer and
without the
seller.
buyer, we do have buyers sign that they've read it.
Yeah, I really think you guys should, because listen, just when that scenario comes, and when they didn't see it, they come back, they blame you. You signed it right here on August 10th that you looked at it, okay? So now you can't come back to me. Because I guess that's happening a lot more today, is there, I mean, like I said, I've had sellers and buyers say, well, I didn't read the contract.
Oh, yeah, we have.
Okay.
I just had a phone call on that yesterday. How come there's a $815 home warranty on my settlement statement? Let me look at your contract. And it was, and he was elderly, but he never read it, he just signed it. But he was agreeing, he said, okay, well, if I signed it, and that's what was on there, he was fine, but it does. But I've had agents ask, why should I learn to read a prelim? Kind of the same reason we learn to read your contracts, is, you know.
How do we look it up to see which way we took title?
County assessor.
You could go to Clark County, Assessor's Office.
Right, but
Website?
is it gonna show it on there, how it's?
Yes. In the
Or do
Clark
you gotta
County
go pay and
Assessor
get it?
with your parcel number? No, you could pull a copy of your deed without paying.
Yeah,
Don't you have to set up an account and pay for it?
No.
I don't, and I could look up your property.
And
Well,
no,
you don't, but I would have to.
No, you don't have
You
to
could
pay
go
for it.
into Clark
Yeah,
County.
cause if you click on the tab, it wants you to set up an account, and it wants you to pay to get.
There's
When
the
you're
certain
going to
documents that they
Google-
want you to pay.
Right,
for,
right,
so
yeah,
it's
but
like
you should be able to look
have
at the
do
deed
that.
on yours
Okay.
without being paid, without
Go
being
into
billed.
Clark County Assessor, go into their website,
Right,
I'm trying to remember the start, have your parcel number.
right, I got all that saved.
Yeah, and then go for real property search by parcel. You
Right.
should be able, back to a certain year, you should be able to pull copies of the chain of title. Cause I do that for some of my clients that are like, I wanna list this house, can you look real quick? You know, without going through title, and you could also do Clark County Recorder's Office.
Right,
You can see what's recorded against it, you can't see the documents, but you can see if there's a deed of trust or whatever.
I also think in our platform, Title Pro 247, you can pull up a property report, and within that property report, there are hyperlinks on documents and all transactional history going back X amount of years, and you can also obtain maybe the document to see the deed
Yeah.
through that program.
You can email me.
There's no
all the
cost for
property
that.
If you want to check your property.
Can I ask you a quick, I don't know if you offer this assistance or not, or maybe you can tell me which way to go, but I have a client that wants a piece of vacant land over on the west side, and I did get a copy of the title report. I cannot find that owner. I believe the owner's deceased, but I don't know how to go about it. Is
The
there,
title.
it did no information. I have
Have
his
you done
name,
obituaries?
I even did that. I even
We
tried that.
actually go that route sometimes too.
Yeah, I found I think it might be a family member. I did find a family member, maybe a daughter, whatever, but there's not even
But on
information
vacant
for her.
land, there should be a different mailing address.
Yeah.
There is, There was, I was researching every one of them.
Right.
It's like, he's just gone. I researched, because through the title report, just,
Are taxes paid current?
I didn't,
Somebody's, if they're,
I'll check that.
yeah, cause if they're paid, somebody's paying, so.
Okay, I didn't think to do that.
There's another option for you. You could reach out to Heather with the
Oh, yeah,
APN
exactly.
of that vacant property, and we can run it through our data solutions company to see if we can find any ownership, any contact numbers, any emails
Oh,
Potentially.
Everything.
to follow up on.
Jackie's good about that.
Yeah, I actually had an agent had a call from somebody and that wanted her to list a property and it seemed a little fishy to her. So that's exactly what we did, because it was actually on vacant land too, and she was trying to research it and match up names and any emails or phone numbers, so we can't get that information. It may not be accurate, but I mean, whatever's
No,
out
if
there,
it's
we
leads,
can get.
Yeah, and I can give you what I have thus far.
Yeah.
What I've
Okay.
found, so I'll.
Just email me all that.
All right, thank you.
And you guys as well, when you're on the MLS and you're on any listing, in the upper top, in the top, more towards the right, you'll see three little chains. They look like a chain. When you click on, one will be the assessor's website, one will be the clerk, the other one, I can't
The
remember.
tax,
Yeah.
per tax.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right.
And you just click on it, it'll show you that particular property that you're looking at. Just click new, and then you can put in your APN number, you can put in your address, you can put the owner's name, and then it'll come up. Once you get that up, at the top of the assessor's website, there's 3 or 4 different links that you can see. You click on each document. One's an aerial view of the property, one is the deed, the trust and everything. So it's all right there that we can all get to very, very easily. And you don't have to pay for it, it's all right there.
Yeah, they want you to.
Yeah, we don't have to pay, you don't have to pay for it. Now, if you're gonna dig deep in records, they might wanna charge you at that point. But for what little things that we're trying to do, I don't think you have to pay anything.
But
Thank you.
Jackie's really good in our customer service, she's a good detective. She's
Yeah.
Probably help her.
Okay.
Thank you, appreciate you, thank you, for a big hand, everybody. Couple of things, so it's, this is the new BBRA, how it has to be uploaded to SkySlope, because now that we have the BBRA, we have to have it in our file, we have to have SkySlope. This is just a process, so please make sure, because we're having it where people don't know what to do and how to do it. And again, you guys, we don't make the rules, we're tasked with making sure we get the stuff. So that's the thing.
To escrow, I have one that just closed, not with Realty One, but, the buyer's agent did not turn in that the buyer was paying 0.5 to the last minute till docs were drawn, and the lender said, no, we can't do it.
Right.
Without going all the way back into underwriting,
Yeah.
extending out the
Yeah.
whole thing,
So he lost half a point of the commission.
he did.
Which I've seen that happen on, when they do the net sheet as well. When the client would get the net sheet, they don't pay attention to it because they're not reading it again, which might be a great class to do as well. Do that one on, not the net sheet, but used to be the one,
It used to be a HUD, but.
HUD, that's it,
Now
that's
it's
it.
a Smith settlement.
Yeah, there you go. So that's
Dating
something,
ourselves
that's a
on
great
that
point,
one.
because I don't think a lot of us are actually reading that either. And I said, one of the most important things is your commission, but you should also look to get a home warranty.
Just,
Is it paid for? Who's paying for it?
I like to send them out personally because I like you to be a second set of eyes. Did I miss something?
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't get addendums
Right.
for seller credits,
Right.
you know, until the lender tells us, you know.
Right, hey, by the way, there's a 7th addendum right there. We only got 4 too. I see.
Yeah, well, even if 3 isn't valid because one of the parties didn't, we still need the chain
Right.
in our file as well.
Well, that's a great point. So let's say we have 1, 2, or 3 addendums, but 3 was never fully executed, and then there's a 4th. No, that's number 3. 4 is 3 because was never fully executed. I see that a lot. I had one agent that I honestly want to put my fingers around her neck and hold it until she turned blue. 6 or 7 addendums.
Yes.
On the second addendum, it said, on addendum number 4, don't see it. It's not valid unless on a Tuesday that they signed it on a Friday with a, what? I mean, it was literally, guys, I'm not kidding you, it was just like that, scratched across it. This isn't valid unless of the 7, I think 2 or 3 were not even fully executed. Been in Asia for probably 40 years. Holding her by her neck, yeah, you probably do. Yay! LVR dues are due in October. I like it now. it's funny, we pay them and whenever we just paid them, and then, like a week later, we get the next 3 months is coming up, so they let us know. Everybody should have got the email. The email, is now where you can sign up for the holiday party. Remember guys, it's $11. The full $11 isn't going to us, it's going to our charity. This year for our office, we're doing Project 150. All the funds will go there. If you want to bring a spouse, significant other, it's $49. It's going to be at Stoney's. We're going to have a blast. Make sure you're going to it. Sam. Hey, Sam.
That's
Tim's
why I got
doing a
asked for
class
Sam.
right after this on the new net sheet. Palm agent, everybody's calling a couple different things. Basically, it's the net sheet, and he's going to go into detail. It's way cool. So make sure you stay along for that. And then next week, we remember it was 2 weeks ago, we got caught up and I don't remember what happened, we couldn't do it, but we're gonna do Kahoot next week on ROG. And if you haven't done Kahoot, it's a hoot. So we're gonna do that.
Questions, so there's curveballs in there. this
Yes.
time.
And it's funny, you were talking about we'll talk later about, they have a deal, we might talk about doing a Kahoot on that as well. They're a lot of fun, so make sure you get involved with that. And unless there's anything else, you guys, check your emails, do your phone. Tim's doing a class in a few minutes right after this. On that note, guys, we're done. Thank you.